Welcome everyone to our first summer 2020 Student Success webinar series. Tonight's entitled The Basics, Be Ready for September. This is mostly for PTS students tonight on Tuesdays. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge the beautiful territories of the Tsleil-Waututh, Squamish, and Musqueam Nation on which our BCIT campuses are located on. I'm Caroline Depatie. I'm the Associate Dean for Business Administration in the School of Business and Media. And along with Natalie Anderson, our intern for the school, we will be your host today. Joining us, there's a few people joining us today, is Tamina Mashor from BCIT International. Hi, Tamina. You can, yes, I don't know if you guys can see. And Tracy Wang from BCIT International as well. Thank you for joining us. I'll introduce our main speaker in a minute here. Throughout this session, if you have any questions, we encourage you to write them in the Q&A section that you can find at the bottom of your screen, and one of us will answer. You can also chat if you want, but definitely encourage you to post a question or a Q&A. We'll do our best to answer. Like I just said earlier, this is part of an 8-part webinar series. Our facilitator today will explain what the series is all about. For PTS students every Tuesday for the next 8 weeks from 5 to 6 1-hour sessions. There'll be lots covered. Again, we'll tell you what those topics are throughout the session today. We will be recording this session and will be available. So we'll be recording every session. So hopefully that's okay with everybody. And if you can't attend one of the sessions or are only gonna attend partly, you can listen to the recording. It will be on our School of Business welcome page. So I want to welcome your facilitator today, Leelah Dawson. Leelah is the Dean of the School of Business and Media at BCIT. Leelah has been the Dean for 3 years now, started in February 2017, and she's well known in the business Dean circles as an excellent Dean with a great vision, but also somebody who cares really deeply for students. So we're quite fortunate to have such an amazing Dean. Her topic today is about, again, welcoming you to the school, introducing you to the webinar series, and she'll also discuss a bit of the learning environment that we can expect in September. I will remind you this at the end, and Leelah will also next week our sessions about bring your own device and what you need to pay attention to for September. And we'll talk about this a little bit more throughout this session as well. So without further ado, I'd like to pass the microphone to Dean Leelah and encourage you again to write your question in the Q&A section. Thank you, Leelah, and go ahead.
Thank you all very much. I thought I was set up to be on the welcome slide, and I was set up on my last slide instead. Thank you all for joining us this evening. I really appreciate you taking the time to come and hear what we have to say, and I hope you'll participate in all the webinar series this summer. I think you'll find it quite helpful to do so. Please feel free at any time to ask questions through the Q&A. I have to confess, we do find it easier if we can manage all the questions through the Q&A, not in the chat. And we will, but as necessary, we will put links into the chat for specific information that we get asked about. I'd like to thank Natalie. I'd like to start with thanking Carolyn for organizing this event and this series. It was great to have her bring this idea to the leadership team, and we're just bringing it to fruition yesterday and today. I would also like to thank Natalie Anderson for all the technical help that she's provided all the way along. And again, appreciate very much Tamina and Tracy attending this evening. Any questions we may have, any questions that are raised with respect to international student visas, I will be directing to Tamina and Tracy. I'm going to start with saying that at BCIT, we will be following the Public Health Officer guidelines to ensure that our students, our faculty, and our staff are all kept safe. What this means for the fall is that most of our programs will be fully online for the entire fall semester. Most of our courses, or almost all of our courses and programs. Everything in part-time studies will be online for the entire fall semester. We don't know yet about the winter semester. Personally, I sincerely hope we are welcoming everyone back onto campus in the wintertime, but I cannot make that promise because again, our top priority is to keep everyone safe, and we will follow the necessary protocols and guidelines to do that. So I thought I'd start, Natalie, I thought I'd start with asking our first poll question of what program are you in?
Sure, I'm launching it right now.
Okay, great. And you can see I grouped these into sort of larger departments just to get an idea. Well, we're having 2 specific areas show up. Oh, there's good. Somebody from marketing also showing up. That's good. So people from a variety of programs. Thank you all for letting us know. Happy to see, my own discipline area is accounting and finance, so I'm always happy to see lots of people in the accounting and finance programs. But also realize that not everybody has a career in this area. I'm going to just talk a little bit about what I'll be discussing tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about orientation, including for fall 2020, including our Summer Student Success Series, and also the international student orientations to learning in Canada that we will be having for our international students in late August. I will also give a brief overview of what's going to be happening, what you can expect with respect to part-time programs and courses, and then we will be taking any questions you may have. So one thing I should say is that there will be more information coming out all summer about orientation and about the fall. So I would encourage you to keep an eye on your email and on our various welcome pages, because we want to make sure you're aware of all of the activities that will be taking place. Of course, orientation will be different this year because it won't be face-to-face. So activities and introductions are going to be online. Sessions will be shorter than they would be if they were face-to-face and more spread out. The week of August 31st to September 4th, which is the week before classes start, there will be lots of activities that week. So you should keep an eye to make sure that you're available that week to participate. More information all summer. The Student Life and Student Association are working together to create a student success hub that will have a central resource through the Learning Hub, which is our learning management system, to help you with things like some resources on well-being, resources on how to learn online, what other supports and services we have at BCIT, the values at BCIT, and checklists on pre-arrival to BCIT and remote learning. So some things to help. There will also be a virtual booth expo the week before classes start that will involve the Student Association, Student Life, various BCIT student services, and the student clubs. I've also been told that we are looking at a variety of fun events with possibilities. The recreation services are looking at doing a online scavenger hunt. And the test question I saw go by was, go find a wooden spoon in your house and bring it back and show it on screen. So I have no idea what all they're going to make students do, but I think there's lots of opportunities to have some fun and win some prizes. Also the possibility of trivia sessions, virtual welcome concert, and some icebreakers so you can get to know your colleagues. The Summer Student Success Series, we decided in the School of Business and Media that it would be helpful throughout the summer to give you some information about what to expect and how to best succeed at BCIT. So there's going to be a total of 8 sessions. This is the first one. Next week, Phil Raymer, our Associate Dean in Operations Management, will be talking about bring your own device, what equipment you will need to be successful, how to access free software through BCIT, and an overview of My BCIT and the Learning Hub. The following week, there will be a session on the online learning environment through the Learning Hub, and get some practical tips and best practices to set yourself up for an entirely successful term. The last week of July, Charlotte Culver, one of our instructors, will be joining you to talk about working in teams in an online environment. And Charlotte has, for the past 2 years, been running large team projects with our students in organizational behavior, as well as the students from one of our partner institutions in Artevelde in Belgium. So she's had a lot of experience with how to work across time zones and with students that have never actually seen each other except over Zoom or some other platform. So she's going to be talking about what works well and what to avoid. The following week will be what's your routine? Developing good habits for time management. To be a successful student at BCIT, it's important that you learn to manage your time well. And so that's something that we will be spending some time on. How to set goals, how to organize your time, how to do planning for projects so you can be successful, running group meetings, how to study for exams, all those kinds of things. Week 6 gets us to online learning platforms such as Zoom, Bongo, our virtual classroom, and The Spot, which is our student collaboration platform that will be available to all students in the School of Business and Media as a social networking site that's exclusively available to students and not to anyone outside of the School of Business and Media. We felt that since oftentimes students have lots of social activities going on, but that this year that's a little more difficult, so we wanted to create a social environment. And that's called The Spot. So more about that a few weeks into the summer. Week 7 is an overview of the library resources and how to properly access the library resources. We are also going to be spending some time on how to keep yourself out of academic hot water. And then the final week, going to be a little more fun, is going to be the BCIT Student Association and student clubs. You are more than welcome as part-time studies students. You can join clubs, and we hope that if your time allows it, that you can do that as well. I did want to mention specifically some material about international student orientation. The School of Business and Media does some workshops, and those are scheduled for August 27th at 9:45 a.m. And I've actually put the link there so that you can register if you would like to participate, and I hope you will. Academic success in the Canadian environment, academic integrity, and teamwork and communication. I think you're seeing a theme here. That these are areas that we spend a lot of time emphasizing so that our students can be successful when they're pursuing their education. BCIT International, who are joining us tonight, Tamina and Tracy, also has a number of ongoing activities and will have an orientation to the entire institute. So their orientation is different than the one in the school, and we strongly encourage you to attend both the activities offered through BCIT International and those offered through the School of Business and Media. It's a great way to get to know the school and the institute. And so now I'm going to speak a little bit about what's happening in the fall. And as I said at the front end, the fall is going to be entirely online for part-time studies students this year. What this means, some of the learning is synchronous, and what I mean by synchronous is it's like this Zoom seminar where we're all here together at the same time. Some will be asynchronous, where lectures will have been be-recorded and you can watch them at a time that is convenient to you, or you will be told by what time you must have watched the lecture, but will have the opportunity to do so in advance. That will vary depending on the type of course and the instructor. And there will be additional resources in addition to the lectures. There will be learning activities that can either take place through discussion boards online, or can take place through a live discussion such as the one we're having tonight. Synchronous learning will be scheduled. You will be told when activities are taking place that are synchronous, much as you were told when this seminar was taking place. And if the class is having synchronous activities, you will be expected to attend. So you will also, even in a class that is primarily asynchronous, you will be expected to attend, in that you'll be expected to participate in discussion boards and other activities of that type. But for synchronous activities, we'll expect you to attend. They will be scheduled primarily in the evenings, Pacific time or Vancouver time. And for the most part, the synchronous activities will be recorded to allow for after-class review. We are also this fall putting additional supports in place to help students learn successfully in what is potentially quite a new environment for them. So we are creating some e-learning ambassador positions in the School of Business. Those will be upper level students that will be available to assist you in any way you need assistance with the online technology. There is also going to be additional people in peer tutoring, which is again upper level students that are successful in a subject area, and they are available to help you on an ongoing basis. And of course, there are going to be lots and lots and lots of additional online supports. Because as I said at the bottom of this slide, what we really want is that you succeed. That is our top priority, is that you be successful in your courses and in your program. And now I'm turning things over to you to ask any questions you may have of me or of anyone else that's joined us today. And MJ has raised her hand. Natalie, I'm not sure what to do about that. Sorry, I'm not super technical, and I get Natalie helping.
That's okay. That just looks like it was a wave, like a hello type wave.
Oh, okay.
It didn't signal any sort of question. Again, if you have a question, feel free to ask in the Q&A bar down at the bottom of your screen, and Leelah will do her best to answer, or one of our other teammates.
Yeah. Or I'll get one of the experts to answer.
MJ does have a question.
Okay. Yes, MJ. Can you type the question in, MJ? I don't actually know how to turn on the microphones for the participants.
Yeah, so all participants are just required to type in their question, and we can verbalize the answer or type it back to you. Unfortunately, none of the attendees can be unmuted. So feel free to keep typing, MJ. There we go.
Okay, MJ, if you are not working, the question is, and I believe people can see it, but just in case you can't, it says, I took a break from work this season. On average, how many courses, subjects can we enroll in to be successful? So, and you've never had online classes ever. Okay. So I would say that a full-time student, typical full-time student, in a regular face-to-face environment takes about 5 classes. And I would say, because online is a new environment and it is a challenging environment, I would say that you would be very busy if you took 3 or 4 classes. And in part-time studies, if you are taking 3 or 4 classes, you are considered full-time for purposes of student financial aid if you are a domestic student. So I hope that helps. The next question, Queenie has asked, have course curriculum changed when converted from in-person format to e-learning online format? And will grading rubrics be revised due to that? So the learning outcomes for the courses remain the same regardless of format. So whatever the learning outcomes are, we are going to achieve those in an online environment, just as we would in a face-to-face environment. It does mean that some of the assignments have changed, some of the assessments have changed, and the format of discussions have changed. So grading rubrics do have to be revised because it doesn't make sense to grade in exactly the same way when you're in an online environment. Oh, Mana would like to know if we won't email the recording, but it will be on the website. It will be on the welcome page. And so you can download it from there if you like. I believe you can download it. Natalie, if you can't, please tell us.
Nope. So it's just a YouTube video posted to the School of Business and Media. So I'm going to type into the chat bar the address that you can find the recordings at each week.
Okay, thank you. We will open the bookstore when it is safe to do so. And that is true of the bookstores on all of our campuses. So when we consider it safe to do so, they will be opened. In the meantime, you can order books online, and delivery is free at the moment. Will there be any specific groups of the same students in the same course? In our part-time studies programs, not necessarily. Students are picking and choosing which courses to take, so you don't necessarily have the same students in each course. Our full-time programs, you do have the same students in each course, but not in the part-time. How should we be taking midterms and final exams online? We do have some assessments that are done in the format of tests or exams online. We use, it's through the Learning Hub that they will take place. And we use a software called Proctorio. That's our proctoring software to make sure people participate in appropriate ways in the exam. We are also encouraging a variety of other ways, maybe discussion boards, video assessments, projects. There's a range of different ways that students get assessed. So not just midterms and finals. The link to register the workshop, Natalie, can you post that in the chat as well for the August 27th workshop? It's on my third slide.
Sure, will do.
Okay, thank you. And how can you be in touch with your fellow students in the same course? Once your courses start, you'll be able to see all your fellow students in the Learning Hub in your classroom. So every course you're registered in, you will be able to see the entire class list. And for the fall, if everything is online, there are some courses which have the description of the campus. Yes, just please disregard the campus description. That is an artifact of our, it's an artifact of our website that we have to put the campus in. So you can just ignore that because it will be online fully. You do not have to be on or near a campus. How can I get my required textbooks if I am living outside of Canada for the fall semester? Tracy, have you encountered that question before? Because I have not. And are we shipping internationally? Do you happen to know?
That's a good question because we have not actually encountered that. Okay. And perhaps we can take that question, if you don't mind, who have posted this question, send it to isc_info@BCIT. Maybe I can post that in the chat. Yeah. So then you know this is our international email that we will be able to find the follow-up questions and answers to your question. Unless, Tamina, do you know anything about that?
No, unfortunately, Tracy, I don't, but I would think that by getting into contact with the bookstore, because we have a high number of international students at BCIT and even domestic students that are studying from outside of Canada, that it would be a question that they've already looked into, given that even the spring summer term, the current term, has taken place online.
So we will find out and we'll post it as an FAQ. Tracy, yes, if you give them that email address, make sure that this particular student gets the answer. That's great. Good questions. I think so far I've managed to answer most of the questions. This is an easier audience than last night. Last night I had a lot of questions I didn't know the answer to. It was a tough audience. Oh, I think one other one is the workshop in August. That particular workshop is just for international students, Mary. There will be other workshops that are open and activities that are open to all students. But we have found that our international students, because they're coming from different learning environments, find it really helpful to have an orientation to studying in Canada. So that particular one is just for international students, but there will be more information coming out about various activities for all of our students, domestic and international. And the Summer Success Series certainly will answer a lot of questions for you, I suspect, as well. Is there a list of email addresses or contact information for the instructors at this early stage? Some of the instructors will be starting to post their course outlines. Actually, right about now, they'll start to be getting posted for the fall, and the course outlines should have the contact information, email addresses for on them. So those should be coming up fairly soon. When the courses are TBD, which is to be determined, we are still in the process of hiring, which is also something that is happening over the next few weeks. I think we'll have that all wrapped up by the end of July. We should have all of our instructors selected, and that information will be available very shortly thereafter. What will we expect, or when will we expect for the workshops for all students? As soon as we have the information, we'll be posting it. I know that Student Life is working very hard on getting their information out as quickly as we can. And the School of Business and Media is also working on getting that information up within the next few weeks. So it'll be, by the end of July, you should be seeing all the information about what's happening for orientation. And we will be sending you emails about it as well. It won't just be that you have to go find it. We will send emails to let people know what's happening and where it's happening.
All right, Leelah, there was one question that popped up in the chat. They're asking what if they could get an idea of the difference between part-time and full-time. If they were to enroll in a part-time program instead of full-time, is there anything that they would be missing out on? Or do the courses still hold the same value regardless of being part-time or full-time?
Well, I'm going to speak to my personal experience, which is I've been a part-time student and I've been a full-time student, and both have benefits and both have costs. When someone is a full-time student at BCIT, it is a very intense program. Students are typically taking 6 or 7 courses at a time. And we pretty much anticipate students in our full-time programs will not be doing anything else. So they won't have a part-time job or have a lot of family obligations or anything else when they're in a full-time program. Their main focus has to be the full-time program. So that's what a full-time program is. Our part-time programs, and we're actually gradually changing the name of part-time to flexible studies. So our part-time courses and programs are really designed for people that lead a little more flexibility in their study because they are working or they do have family obligations or other obligations, and they simply cannot devote 90% of their time to school because of other obligations. In terms of the content in the courses, you're getting the same content whether you take the course online, in the evening, on the weekends, or during the day. It is the same content. So I hope that helps. And I think regardless, you will learn a lot at BCIT, and I can tell you that BCIT credentials are very valued in the job market once you've completed a credential and graduated. Can students transfer? I see another question, another couple of questions. Can students transfer to other similar courses, classes, just in case a particular course is canceled? If there is room, absolutely. And we try to make sure if we have to cancel a section for some reason, we do try to make sure students all are able to find a place in another course. So we work pretty hard to try and do that so that you don't just lose your space. And are textbooks available online, or are they only paper from the bookstore? Some textbooks are available online. That depends, oftentimes that depends on the publisher. Yeah, so you can probably check with the bookstore to see if there's an e-textbook available. Those are more widely available in some areas than in others. And I think, Apple, I answered the last question. I can tell you the credentials that are offered by BCIT are very much valued in the workplace. And many, many, many people in the workplaces, excuse me, sorry, my throat is getting dry, I've been talking. So BCIT credentials are well valued by all of our employers, and it doesn't seem to matter whether they're part-time or full-time. Carolyn, welcome back. We've had lots of questions.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah.
I guess I don't see sorry, I had to go, everybody. I had to do a 10-15 minutes hi to students somewhere else. It's like switching rooms when you're on a hallway. You go from room 201 to room 202 when you come back.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, we've had quite a few questions from a very active group. I'm happy to see all the activity tonight. Yeah. And I guess we'll give it another minute or two. We don't want to keep people past, you know, where we all sit and look at each other in silence. We certainly don't want to do that, but we want to make sure all of your questions are answered. What is the deadline to enroll in any class for the fall? In our part-time or flexible studies, we will allow you to enroll right up until the classes start. However, I would encourage you to enroll earlier in that we're sitting at about 70% full right now overall, and some courses are completely full. So if there's something you want to take, I would encourage you to enroll now. Okay.
Should we wrap it up, or do you want to wait a few more 30 seconds? I think that's good, eh?
We'll give it another 30 seconds for a fast type.
Okay. Fast, please. That's okay. I mean, people that have questions can also stay behind, because we can kind of stay a little longer. But we'll definitely send another email this week to PTS students. I know you guys got word of this a little bit late, but if you have any friends that are in PTS courses, just let them know about these sessions. I think they're going to be, again, you're going to find them very informative for your studies in September. They're going to answer a lot of questions. For next week, sorry, I'm just going to wrap it up. If that's okay, Leelah.
Please go ahead, Carolyn.
Did you have anything else to finish with?
No, I except to say thank you to everyone that attended. I really appreciated having the chance to chat with you.
Okay. Sorry, we have a list waitlisted for 2 course of question. I'll maybe let you answer that one, Leelah, and then I'll finish.
We are right now managing the wait list as actively as we can, and what that means is we, you know, if a space comes available, we put in the next qualified person off the wait list as quickly as possible. We will continue managing the wait list until the end of this week. And at that point, we stop managing it, and the courses, all courses are made available through the regular registration process on the website. And what you will have to do is check the website and see, what courses become available. So we do our best to meet every request, but it's an ongoing process.
Yeah. So thank you. I think most people left, so I'm just gonna thank you, Leelah. So I think it's just us and a few students. So thank you for a very informative session. And we look forward to seeing some of you next Tuesday. We'll send out more information about this. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
There are just a couple of last questions. How do we get a code to buy a book from Ryerson? I would encourage you to contact the bookstore because they will know how to get a code for a book from Ryerson. I don't actually know that. And possibly contact Ryerson and ask them. And can courses be recorded? You will find that many courses are that lectures are pre-recorded so you can watch them again. And even synchronous sessions will also be recorded so that you can review them. So many thanks to all the participants for joining us this evening. And we will, I hope you will join Phil next week for Bring Your Own Device and more information in that regard.